live look here at our radar right now, and you can see all the colors on your screen right here. And Tony, this really shows we're talking about tornado warnings and watches, but we still have a lot more rain coming to the area, don't we?
We do, and more than likely looking at about 3 to 6 inches of rain overnight and into early tomorrow morning. It should shut down by around 7, 8 o'clock, but we do have a flood warning in effect, significant flash flood warning in effect through the overnight hours into early in the morning. There's more precipitation that is in Connecticut that has to come through. This is where the tornado warning is located now. It looks like now that it has now been removed from New Bedford, removed from Buzzards Bay, and has been shifted now further to the south and east. Now I'm looking at the Doppler radar here, and this is merely a concern for, it looks like, Woods Hole, Falmouth, T-Ticket, East Falmouth, out towards Mashpee. So that area in purple, the tornado warning now has been extended until 12:45. So New Bedford, you are out of the woods as far as any potential tornado, but we're looking at a rotation on Doppler radar now. And this is again for Falmouth, Woods Hole, East Falmouth. We're seeing some rotation on the Doppler radar. Again, there's been no verification of anything on the ground, but based on what we look at the Doppler radar, it will give us some confidence and some clues of what we're looking at. So when we get in real close here, and I mean, New Bedford, you're getting heavy rain, you're getting some thunderstorms, but you don't have any kind of rotation. It's right in here. Again, and now this is Route 28. 28A and Falmouth and West Falmouth right in here. So we're going to switch to, again, what we call this, it's a velocity product, and what it can do is it can infer how the air is moving within a thunderstorm. And oh yeah, that's, you know what, that's actually a pretty good couplet there. That may have strengthened this a little bit. So this is over in Falmouth. Saconanesset Hills, East Falmouth, Route 28. I know this doesn't look like much, but it's this couplet of red and green right in here. And okay, what does that mean? Well, it's telling us that in the green, the Taunton radar site is indicating wind blowing in this direction, and then the red indicating that the wind is blowing towards the radar site. So it's looking at what we call tangential wind. And the net result is that it infers that there's some sort of rotation and possible tornado in this area near Falmouth, and this would be tracking off to the north and to the east. So New Bedford, initially you were in the tornado warning. You're no longer in the warning right now, as that tornado warning has been shifted now further to the south and east for these areas in purple. And that's now been extended until. This is until 12:45 overnight and towards Hyannis and out towards Cape Cod Bay. Nothing for New Bedford, nothing for Fall River, Taunton, Newport, nothing for Rhode Island as well. However, I just want to show you this one more thing. In fact, I have a TJ texting me as well, so he's watching this just as much as I am. So I want to show you this radar, this velocity scan one more time, and I want to widen out the view because there's something that, wow, okay, there we go. There's another couplet offshore. This is another indication. This is actually a strong one too, a strong couplet. So here we go, give you some perspective. This is out over the ocean. This is well out over the ocean right now by, take a look at, so let's use Newport as a reference. This is 29, 30 miles south and east of Newport right now. So on the velocity scan, right in here, we see another one of those couplets. And this is an indication that this thunderstorm offshore has some fairly significant rotation. And when we take a loop of this, let's kind of loop this over the last, say, 45 minutes. And see where that couplet is moving. Oh, it's zooming in. Well, we're zooming in on the area that was over Falmouth, but it's this area offshore that we're going to watch very closely as well, right in here. And we can play this now and take a look at it. And yeah, this is tracking now to the north and east. Let's take a look at this over the last 45 minutes and play this back one more time. And there you go. So it's this couplet right there. So that's tracking north and east. And if that holds together, this would approach probably the Vineyard and out towards the Elizabeth Islands again. So this is tracking north and east. This is a Doppler radar indicated rotating thunderstorm that's tracking north and east. So quite simply, this is the reason why we have a tornado watch. We're seeing signs of some of these thunderstorms with rotation. And we have another one that is offshore as well. It doesn't look like much. There's one right there. There's another one coming in offshore right there. So these are out over the ocean. So these are water spouts. But this is just an indication. It does give us confidence that, that these storms do have the potential to produce some isolated tornadoes. And at least in the short term, we're watching those two circles probably approaching coastal southeastern Massachusetts over the next roughly 30 to 45 minutes. Elsewhere, we don't see any rotations. But Mike and Kim, it's the reason why the Weather Service now has issued a tornado watch until 7 o'clock in the morning, all of Rhode Island, all of southeastern Massachusetts. And a watch means quite simply that there's the potential that some of these thunderstorms may produce some tornadoes. So if you have our app, and you can download that, you'll get an alert or a tone on the app. And you can scan it on the QR code. You can get your smartphone out right now, scan that code. And the app knows your location. And if you go into the settings and you set what warnings and tone alerts that you want, whether it's a flood warning, a lightning warning, a tornado warning, it'll go off while you're sleeping overnight. And it's certainly a valuable tool in situations like this. So wrapping this all up, the big concern here is the flash flood potential overnight through tomorrow morning, but also the risk, albeit kind of scattered. It's not everyone seeing a tornado, but the chances are there of isolated tornadoes coming in off the ocean overnight and into early tomorrow morning. The weather team is going nowhere. I mean, I'm here throughout the overnight. Michelle's coming in shortly. So if there are any additional watches and warnings, you're going to see all that information scrolling on your screen at home, and certainly updating on our apps and on social media as well. So quite a high impact storm in terms of flash flooding, and not often you get isolated tornadoes, but that chance is there, Mike and Kim.
And Tony, this Ida is probably going to go down as one of the biggest and most devastating storms we've ever seen when you really think about it.
And you think about it, even when they degrade into like a tropical depression or kind of what we call a remnant low, it may structure-wise it's no longer a hurricane, but there are still moving parts in the atmosphere. It's still creating weather, whether it's heavy downpours or isolated tornadoes. So while the storm is a former shadow of what it was down on the Gulf Coast, it is still producing high impact weather, just in a different way.
And we want to leave you with some images. We want to go live right now to our New Bedford camera, another live look out there. That tornado warning, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, it has now expired for the New Bedford area? It
has, and it's been extended now. In fact, I'm going to show you, and we can go to my source on CG8, and I'll show you that one more time. This area in purple, and there you go. We can take that full right now off my weather computer. This is until, now it's been extended to 1:15 a.m. So, and it now includes the vineyard as well. So the vineyard included in that. And I think the reason why the vineyard has been included is because we're starting to see some of these rotating thunderstorm cells offshore that may be approaching the vineyard and the lower part of the Cape overnight. This is until 1:15. New Bedford and Buzzards Bay no longer in the severe thunderstorm, or actually the tornado warning, but the vineyard is now included. And quite simply, this is because we're seeing more storms out over the ocean that are approaching that area in purple until 1:15. So that's why the tornado warning has been issued. In Rhode Island, there's nothing going on. It continues to be the main concern now in the short term. Continues to be flooding rains, a lot of rain, 3 to 6 inches, and there's that slight chance of an isolated tornado overnight and into early tomorrow morning. This is a storm that created national news in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York City. We have some pictures in Pennsylvania as well of some damage from some tornadoes and some flooding that went through Pennsylvania earlier this evening, and that system now approaching our area right now. And this is not ordinary flooding. In fact, it's what we call, there's two kinds of flood warnings. There's a flood warning and a flash flood emergency. And clearly this has been upgraded for Pennsylvania to a flash flood emergency. We're talking about waist deep water, rainfall here that have been measured up at around 7-8 inches. The rain rates at anywhere from 1 to 3 inches per hour. And I do anticipate, maybe not of this magnitude, but I do anticipate some significant flooding overnight. Local rivers and streams, the Patuxent River, we're going to have to keep an eye on as this very heavy rain continues overnight. We're thinking until about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. Once we get beyond that time period, the rain should be easing up. But of course, Pennsylvania had some tornadoes as well. And if you're just tuning in now, we're at 12:25 a.m. and this is a tornado warning for the areas in purple, and now includes our friends over in the Vineyard until 1:15, as we're seeing indications of small thunderstorms offshore with some rotation that may be approaching that purple area now until 1:15 a.m. And keep in mind why tornado warnings are issued. It's based on 2 criteria. Either we're spotting one on the ground already, or radar indicates that a tornado may be trying to form. They're difficult to see, obviously, at night with fog and heavy rain. So a lot of this is based on what the Doppler radar sees inside the storm. When it sees the rotation, it sees those velocity couplets, 9 times out of 10, it's usually a water spout or a tornado. So we'll keep you updated.
All right, so Tony mentioned he's not going anywhere, and of course Michelle Muscatello will be in early as well. We'll have team coverage for you. We'll have reporters out and photographers out all morning long capturing the damage and the pictures of the storm. As Tony mentioned, we're going to get quite a bit of more rain before 7 o'clock tomorrow, and of course we'll start 12 News now at 4:30.
And thank you for joining us for our extended coverage of the severe weather alert.
Enjoy. Good night.